Now, um, after Obedient Baptist Church with Reverend Robert D. Walker Jr. and Miss Takeda, you were led to start your own group called LaQuint Weaver and Change. Let's talk about
Well, that would happen way before change was up in the earlier parts, right after the apostles had went their separate ways. Um, the change was another adventure, going to sing and doing a concert. And so I asked my good friend, the late Ernest Herskin, my cousin Renee, as well as Don Byers. I asked them about being a part of the group. And we stayed together and we sung for about 2 or 3 years. And then Don graduated from school and we was coming out soon. So we kind of went on our little separate ways. And that's when we had changed before we went into Hallelujah. Hallelujah went right on in, came back to force after I recorded a solo project, which was produced by Starsky and Hutch on Captain Dobie. He was then doing production as far as recording, looking for new artists. And he got my cousin Sylvia first, and then he came and got me. And for me singing on her project, that's how I was blessed because of her project in Birmingham. And he got me. And from there, I called Renee, I called Don, and I called Leon. So we got to record, and Juanita, and we got to record, and the rest is history.
that. All right, now I'm going to throw out some names here.
Okay.
Bessie and Michael Harris.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Those were the people that taught us so much. Those were the very first managers from Hallelujah, and Mr. Michael Harris did not play. He's a very, very, very business-minded man, as well as his wife, Bessie, who is still my manager today. She still works with me in Hallelujah Singers, and but they were down on it. You get fined for anything. I never will forget. We went to Louisville, Kentucky, and we got to laughing at somebody because it was funny, and it caught my uncle Bill, our musician, off guard. And me, Renee, and Don were fine, and plus put out the church because the people, well, they thought, well, we was laughing so hard that Renee was laughing so hard that she cries when she laughs. So her mascara had started to run, trying to run down her face. And Michael hit they were sitting in back of us. It was like Renee, myself, Don, Leon. And so Michael hit the back of the pew and said, boom, you. And he pointed in our back, you too, you, out of here. So we got out of there, and when we got out to church, we kind of held our head down with the fans and whatever, like we was trying to help each other out. Well, I slipped and fell on the porch going out to get to the other part, and Renee and Don and them laughed even more. So Bessie came out, and they really got us. So they were really great managers for us. They kept us intact, but they didn't play, not at all.
Now let's talk about TT Donna.
Donna Carson and I met during the course of Donaldville's Voices of Deliverance. We had recorded our album, and she came to the she came in, and she she was class, just always her heels, and she had a beautiful shape, and her hair was, they were wearing a blow dry thing. It was a cut, and you could shake your hair. Her hair was shake so full and just go back into shape. She was top notch. She was a top notch diva, but she still is today. But we've developed a brother and sister friendship that will never part. I mean, she gets on my nerve, and I probably get on her nerve, but I'm able to say that our friendship, despite of what we argue about, it always comes back. And you don't get very many friends that can do that and what have you. So I don't consider her my friend. I consider my sister.
Now, everybody went their separate ways. Let's talk about the prophecy given to you by evangelist Renee Thomas that you just weren't utilizing all of your gifts.
Oh my God. Evangelist Renee Thomas, extraordinary soprano, lead vocalist for the St. James Adult Choir, pastored by Reverend Nixon, directed by Dr. Jimmy Dowell. She came to me one day and she told me, she says, "Hey, I love the group." She said, "Y'all were good." She said, "But this ain't it." She said, "This ain't it." She said, "You're not using all your gifts." I was like, "Huh?" She was like, "No." She says, "LaQuint, you're not using all your gifts." She said, "I see a choir. I see more people." I'm like, "Really?" Well, I felt like I had enough. You know, I can deal with my church choir. That's enough. I ain't got to do no more. And she told me that I was going to have an ensemble or a choir because I wasn't utilizing my directing abilities.
Wow,
Yeah.
extraordinary.
Hmm.
So, you started out with what, 4 members?
Just four.
4 members.
And there was Renee, Don, and Leon.
And then you changed your name, glory to God, to Eden, LaQuint Weaver, and the Hallelujah Singers. Glory to God. And I'm proud to be one of them. Thank you very much.
Yes, you are proud to be a hallelujah singer. You came in supposed to be helping out, and then it hit you, and you stayed. You didn't even move. So yeah, that's it. But yeah, prior to that, it was another choir that was before that. We had Hallelujah, and then we had a Hallelujah Connection, which was a big choir. And then from there, we went to Eloquent Weaver and Hallelujah Singers. So the singers have been, oh my Lord, the singers are something else. We've lost many along the way, and we got a chance to record. We got a chance as the Hallelujah Singers to be a part of Martha Jean the Queen's King of Kings and um, travel all over, and everything.
Now, I have two names for
Hmm.
you.
Hmm.
Martha Jean the Queen Steinberg and Diane Steinberg Lewis. What did those two people mean to you?
Man, Martha Jean the Queen, Steinberg, it was uh, an angel sent from heaven. Listen, if anybody knows Martha Jean the Queen, I've heard of her. She owned WQBH. She was the general manager. Very few Black African American people owned in general manager position, a radio station back then. And she was one of our announcers that would come on every day at 12 noon with this song called Without a Song by James Cleveland. She would talk. Then she would also tell everybody, all the ladies, when the checks was gonna be released from the plants. My sister would love that because my brother-in-law worked for Chrysler, so she would know when the extra money was coming in, so she can get her a check. And so a lot of people they had a problem with her a lot of times, but she had an actual event, and it was called the King of Kings. And man, in order to be on King of Kings, you had to be smoking. So me and the connection were in a competition and we did not win. We came in the second place. Queen felt that we should have won. And she told me that night, she says, LaQuint? I said, yes, ma'am. She says, I want you to call my office on this coming Monday. I said, yes, ma'am. And she told me what time to call. And I did. So they told me, she says, leave your telephone number. She's going to get back with you. So 4 o'clock that day, Martha Jean the Queen called. I never will forget. Oprah Winfrey, the Oprah show was on. And the phone rang. Caller ID said WQVH. I was like, uh-oh. But I didn't know what she wanted. And I picked up the phone and she says, LaQuint? I said, yes, ma'am. This is Queen. I says, hi. She says, hi. She says, I want you guys to sing on King of Kings this year. And I was like, She said, "You there?" I was like, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Can you do it?" I said, "Oh, yes, yes, ma'am." And we did King of Kings from that day to 13 more years straight. So we were blessed to sing on stage with some of the greats every Palm Sunday. But then I got a chance to do this song. And this song was the theme song. And it was called The King is Coming. And it was done by Axe. Well, I don't know if it was by accident or not, but we had did a sound check. And the young man that normally sung the theme song, Brother Charles Porter, I don't know what happened. And they were looking for someone to sing it. And so she asked me, Quint, she says, have you heard The King is Coming? I said, yes, ma'am. I had did it as a trio, a duet with my aunt. And I also heard Aunt Carolyn and Aunt Sammy do it together. So I was familiar with it. She said, well, I want you to come down to the station tomorrow. And I want you to audition before Jay Butler. I says, ma'am, yeah, I want you to probably sing The King is Coming. Can you come down to the station? I said, yes, ma'am. So I went to the station. And so I sung a little bit that I knew. And Jay Butler said, you got it. I was like, I got what? He said, you got to sing The King is Coming. Well, Sheba, it was the hardest thing to do. Anyway, long story short, the day of the concert, King of Kings, Hallelujah sings that song. I was going to write the words in my hand. And one of my guys in Hallelujah sings said, you can't do that. It's going to rub off. You're going to touch the microphone and it's going to rub off and you're going to be messed up. I wasn't secure with some of the verses. And when I got on stage at the Fisher Theater, it looked like the Lord just started taking a pen and just writing the words for me in the air. And this power of the Lord came in so strong. We shouted. I fell in the stage in the midst of the high smoke. And they were trying to reach in and get me and pull me off the stage. we was we was at the I think it was at the Masonic Temple or the Fisher one because I think it was the Masonic. No, it was the Fisher. They were trying to pull me off the stage. Rufus Bill, everybody, and they couldn't reach in. And so they said, Queen say, leave him there. Let him get all of it. Let him get all of it. And the next day, thanks be to Martha Jean the Queen allowed me to sing The King is Coming. That led us to get a recording contract. And I had to put The King is Coming onto the new album that it was new then, the first album, No Secret. And it was produced by Mr. Drake Farrington. And he promised the lady that, she said, do you have The King is Coming? After I sung it, we were there selling somebody else's record. He said, I don't have it. He said, but ma'am, I guarantee you, if you buy this record here that we're selling, when you come back here next year, I'll have it for you. And he did. That's when the Hallelujah Singers